Right. Say this code yesterday class with connected with Oracle database. Spring data source dot URL, username, password. So yes, previously we have the what database properties here, H2 properties. Properties are. So let's say comment that H2 properties. After commenting H2 properties, you please add the Oracle properties. What the Oracle properties tell me here? URL, JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon enter local host 1521 colon XC. It's like fixed URLs guys for the Oracle database and driver class name oracle.jdbc.driver oracle.jdbc.what Oracle drive. Username is what system. Password is what manager. See dialect class you please change because to generate the Oracle queries. Oracle dialect class will generate the Oracle queries and HTTP dialect class will generate what HTTP queries. So I change it like username, password, URL, driver class name, and next one is what is your dialect class. Show SQL, format SQL, these all are what? No problem. Just you can keep the same values. Only we need to change these four properties and dialect class property. See guys, after that we have one important property we need to add. That is like spring.jpa spring.jpa hibernate DDL auto property. See what the DDL auto property will do. That property is very important for the other databases. Previously, what database we are using here? H2 database. H2 database is a permanent database, a in-memory database. In-memory database means every time table created and the table dropped automatically. Again, when you start the application, again table is created, right? Again, what? The table is created. But this is a in-memory database or permanent database? Permanent database, you are calling it as a persistence database. Persistence database, we have the concept. In that case, you tell to Oracle database. We have the DDL auto properties, guys. DDL auto properties here we have the option like create is there, create and drop is there, create and what, create and drop. See guys, there are the properties generally we have create and drop, only drop, truncate, update, validate. What it will do, create means when every time the application started, the table is created newly. Table is created what? Newly. Create and drop means what happened? A table is created and the table is dropped and the application stopped. Application is what a mark? Stop. That is also something like in-memory database concept. Create the table and drop the table. That's what guys use the property like update property here. What the update property will do? First time table is created. First time is what? Table is created. When you run the application like multiple times, the table is not updated. Like no table is not created. Directly the values will be updated. See, previous H2 database every time what happened guys? Table is creating every time, right? Yes or no? But this is a in-memory database, a permanent database. First time table created, remaining all time the data should be updated, right? The data should be updated. That's what guys most frequently go for the update operation. That's it. You don't write a create and drop. Create and drop is every time created, every time drop. Just like what database in-memory database. That's what guys. Create is good, create and drop is good, drop is good, truncate is good, update is good. That is a property important guys. If you miss that property, the application will fail. That's what the main point here. DDL auto means update means what guys here? First time table is created. If you run the project multiple times, table is not created because table is already what? Existed. Table is whatever already existed. It will update the existing table. Update what table guys here? See guys, what properties you change? Just URL, username, password, driver class name, dialect class and DDL auto properties. DDL auto property. Guys, only these properties you please add it. After adding these properties, you please check the database once. I hope you know that you have the Oracle database. So SQL command line. Tell me guys, SQL, what you can say? What database guys? SQL plus, right? Fine, just you can write SQL plus. And you please check this username password, enter the username. For the username here, system password is what? Manager. See guys, existing project will change properties. You also try the same process. Existing data, the example, you change the properties, work on that example, no problem. You don't need to create a separate project for that. H2 database already you are connecting, right? Just to comment the properties, add the what properties here? Oracle properties. That's it, guys. Real time changing the database is nothing but changing the four properties. That's all. Once if we change the four properties, now our project is working with what database? Oracle database. Guys, you please check the code like previously any table is existed or not. Freshly I want to create select the star from bottom employee. See guys, any data, any table is there here. Just you can write the top table. Table name is what? Employee. See guys, run the project. That's it. Just you can come to the application and right click on the REST API project and what? Click on the start button. Once you click on the start button, guys, now see first time you are running the project, table is created first time. Why first time what? Table is created. Guys, by connecting the Oracle database, it will take bit few seconds. You wait for the few seconds. HTTP database is directly table is created, table is what you can say, updated, right? But Oracle database, like external databases. External databases to connect, it will take bit time. Just wait a second. Wait a what? Second. Wait a second. See guys, database what class here? Wait a second. Now you see. Wait a second. This is a temporary table created by the HTTP table is nothing but temporary table, guys. Hibernate temporary table. Hibernate temporary. HD means temporary table, you can think. So before committing, internally they will create the temporary tables. Then wait a second, still application not started. See guys, here you get the message that application started so on so milliseconds. You wait up to that time. See guys, still it is what? Loading. Still it is loading. Yeah, see guys, now you can see the last point here. You read this message, guys, says started what application here? REST API, Spring Boot application. How many milliseconds here? 59 to 35. Application started. Once the application is started, go for the, tell me guys, once application started, what? Go for what? Postman, yes, Postman, you can check it. In the Postman, you check the what call, guys? Wait, Postman, what call we have to check? Postcall, REST APIs. And here, if we take the REST APIs, we can go for the post call, click on what? Employees, check the body here. And the body. Click on the body, raw data and what? JSON. Select the JSON. Right. Yeah, we got the data like this. Fine. Department is what is here. HR, gender is what, female, name is what, salary is what much here. 5,000. Email is what? Gmail.com. Yes, click on the send button. Once if we click on the send button, the data is what? Saved here. Just you can see guys here, ID. What is ID here? 952. Because this ID is generated by what? What database it is generating? RDB database, right? Okay, fine. They are generating some random ID because in my database previously working for the multiple projects. That's what ID is what sequence generated automatically. In your ID in your system, you get the one only. You please cross check. Now you got what 952. Guys, go to the project here. Just you can see guys. Select the start from what employee. Now you can see you got the details. What database it is? Which database? Oracle database. Oracle database 952 data inside or not inside? That's it, guys. What I changed, just username, password, driver class name, URL. Total 6 properties you have to change. What are 6 properties? Tell me. Username, password, driver class name, URL, dialect class, DDL auto properties. DDL what? Auto properties. See, guys, DDL auto properties we need to take. DDL what? Auto properties. And the next one is one more small important point I'll tell you guys. If you go for the entity class, employee class is there. In employee class, you specified the details. Generation type is what is here? Auto. See, generation types total we have the 4 types. How many generation types we have? But in real time, the manager will tell you depends on the database what generation type you have to use. But what are the generation types means we have the generation types like table type. Generation type is what? Table. Generation type is what? Auto. See guys, these are the generation types we have set for you. See, these are generation types. Auto, identity, sequence, table. UID is not required, you can give it. Total 4 generation strategies, guys. One is what? Auto. Second one is what? Identity. Next one is a sequence. Next one is a table. See guys, identity means what the data is here? Identity. Next one is what? Sequence. Next one is what? Table is there. See, table means like, for the auto-generated IDs are there, na? For those IDs, one new table is created for the all IDs. What happened guys here? See, you generated like, account numbers. Account numbers like auto-generated. Table means generation type table. It will generate the, like, sequence only. To store that sequences, one table, separate table is created. To store that what? Sequence, separate table is created by Hibernate. So guys, if I take this one, just like, table like this, and you see this message here, indicate that persistence provider must assign the primary key for the entity using underlying database table to ensure the uniqueness. It means one separate database table is created. One separate what? See, your employee ID auto-generated. Employee ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Employee ID auto-generated. That ID sequence numbers, one separate table is created first. The table values are reading to the sequence numbers. The table values are reading to what? See guys, we are not controlling anything. Just you can make the table with separate separate table is created for what I guess here? Sequence numbers. Separate table created for what? Sequence numbers. Guys, I given what amount table. After giving the table, guys, simply can save it. Once it is saved, then what happens, guys? Project is reloaded. And this project reloading, you don't try immediately. You please wait a few seconds. And last, you can see the total. How many strategies of generation strategies? 4. One is an auto. One is an identity. Next one is a sequence. Next one is a table is there. Table means for the generated values, one table separate table is created by separate what table created. Separate what table created. Identity means directly values are generated. Only for your employee IDs, directly what happened is here IDs will be generated. Identity. Identity means what directly IDs are created. Table means what IDs are created and separate table is maintained. Sequence means database will maintain the sequence strategies for the generation of IDs. Generation of what? IDs. See guys, one is a normal generation. One is a database will follow the sequence, sequence indexes concept is there internally. They will follow the sequence indexes concept. Identity means directly. Identity means what? Sequence means database will follow the sequence generation indexes concept. Sequence generation index concept. Third one is a table means further sequence. Then what happened there? Table is created. What is created, guys? Sir, identity. Okay, you said like something directly the ID generated. Sequence means what? Database will create a sequence index concept. Sequencing index concept. Sequence indexing concept. We have the data. Third one is what? A table. Table means what? Huh? Table means what? Separate table is created for the indexing. Sir, this all okay. You said something like identity means directly generated. Sequence means database will use some sequence generation indexes concept. Sequence generation index concept. Table means you said like IDs for the auto generated IDs on separate table is maintained. Separate what? These all are okay. Then what is auto, sir? See, generally in real time, what happens, different databases support the different, sequence generations. Generally, identity and second is what? Sequence, third one is what? Table. Only these three will generate the sequences. Auto generations. Sir, what is auto, sir? Auto means not like, you specify the auto. When you specify the auto, depends on the database. Depends on what? Yes. It will use either identity or sequence or table. Auto means it's not like auto generated. We got the point and got the point. See, first one is identity, something directly generated. Directly, there is no strategies, nothing directly auto sequence generated by identity. Second is what? Sequence. They will use some strategies like sequence generation indexes strategy by database. They'll generate it. Third one is what? Table. Table means what happened? Separate table is created for the generated values. Sir, what is auto, sir? Auto is not like, generating the values. Auto will automatically use any one of the strategies. Auto will use what? That's what this depends on the database. Depends on what? Database. Depends on what? Database. They'll use any one of the strategy. They will use what? Any one of strategy. See guys, this most of the times will make auto. Auto means depends on the database. They will, they will give the strategy generation. But in real time, what happened, the database team will tell you that, hey, developers, I'm using this kind of database. You please use the sequence generation. This is a strategy. That they will tell you depends on what? It depends on what? Database. Database, see, sequence is there. MySQL does not support the sequence. PostgreSQL does not support the table sequence. Argil supports what? Table and, identity, something like that. Total, how many strategies for generation of IDs? Four. You remember just four, guys. Real time they will tell you. First is what? Identity. Identity is directly generated. Indexing is what? They use the sequence indexing concept. Database will use what? Sequence indexing concept. Third one is what? Table. For the generation ID, separate table is created for the generation IDs. Fourth one is what? Auto. Auto means it's not a. It's not a. It's not a generation strategy. You use what? Any one of the generation strategy. Auto means automatically will take the generation strategy. What is the strategy? Either identity, either sequence. Something like this as like generation strategies means directly tell the four. What are the four? We have the generation strategies like auto, identity, sequence, table. Now see guys, I used what sequence strategy guys here? Table. I use what table. Once if I use the table, again you write the data like name. Just like given the name is what? Ratan. Just click on what send. If I click on the send guys, now see the message. Now see guys, now we'll go for what? ID generator, not generated, you please cross check because in your system directly one it will start from one, but my system like depends on the previous all the tables, the value will be changed. But that generation strategy, who will take care? Database team will take care. You know what is about that. You know what is about that process. Got it up? Total how many strategies total here? Four. One is the identity, you tell first better. Identity, sequence, table, auto. Auto either you can add first or you can add at last. No. Got it up? Yeah, that is a process. That is like sequence is a database. What database we are using now? Oracle database. See guys, if you want, I will change to one more database is what? Identity. After identity, just let me save it. Good. Guys, you do one thing. Today, you write one small example. You write one generation strategy. Real time is all very rare cases we use generation strategies. Because ID generation 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not a sequence number. General sequence number general. But employee ID should not be a sequence in the real time. Bank account number is generally sequence. Go for the data like, not sequence. So we have the, sequence data is there. But general in real time, employee ID means we have the something like some companies will follow the standards. Developer 10023 something like that. DEV 10023. See, some cases they'll use auto generation, identity, table, sequence, guys. That is one option one. Option two, in my company, we'll use the employee ID generations automatically. If he is a developer, we'll ask the ID like DEV 10034, something like 100 what? 34. And you write the custom sequence generation. What generation? Custom sequence generation. When employee we are inserting the data, you generate the employee IDs like developer 10023 something like that. We got it? What I told you? Generally, ID, auto identity, sequence, or table. These are generating the sequence number starts from what? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. But I want that sequencer, custom sequencer. Custom sequence means the number should be increased by some EMP 1, 2, 3, 4, and developer 5, 6, 7, or some random number you have to generate. Or we have to generate what? Random number. Hey, it means what? You need to use a custom sequencer, user defined sequencer. Like predefined sequencer, custom sequencer. You write the code by 4 o'clock about what? Custom sequence. How to generate the custom sequence numbers. Some real time you should not have the 1 2 3 4 5 like that, right? Real time definitely they have the IDs like developer 1 0 0 2 3 or 5 1 something like that, right? So account number also 12 digits. So 12 digits means they have to write the sequence generation. They need to write what? Custom sequence generation. For every account, it has to generate how many numbers? 13 numbers like that. How many numbers? Yeah, 13 numbers. Like that, you create the example. What example? Custom sequence generator. See guys, now I change it to what data guys here? Identity. Yeah? Yes, if I change it to identity, now again you please run the code once. Here you can take the name is what? Just Anu I changed it. After Anu I change it, just you can click on what? Send. Yes, if you click on the send, before clicking on the send, you please wait for the few seconds. Here started application button, so on so millisecond. Fine. Click on what guys here? Send. See guys, once if you click on the send data integrity constraint exception. Exception guys here. Mhm. Identity means they're expecting the value. Data integrity constraint exception means unique constraint violated. Data integrity violation exception, right? That's it. Total how many values we have total? Total how many generation strategies? Four. What the four? ID, sequence, table, auto. Auto is there, right? Exactly. How many properties we need to change for the table ratio? What is database, Oracle database to connect? Six properties. What are six properties? Yesterday, Bharat, you faced the issue because of this property is not there. If the Bharat, that property is not there, then you will get what issues. The property is mandatory. This property is saying that every time we should create a table, go for the create. Every time you should create and drop, go for the create and drop. No, sir. First time I want to create a table. Remaining times I want to insert the data. Means what? Okay. Okay. All right. Last one. Write the points. This is the what property is this here? The properties required. Connect with the if for Oracle database, you don't get separate process. Existing H2 proper database properties only you can change it and you check the code is the table is created in Oracle database or not. The Oracle database table data check చేయను So the DDL auto properties. DDL auto property is to control the database scheme. Control the database schema of your tables. The table is automatically created, updated, and validated when the application what starts. Right, what are the auto generation strategies? First one is what? Auto. Auto means you decided string data JP will decide. String data JP will choose the generation strategy based on what? Database. Identity means what? Database auto increments the primary key. Sequence means what? Database uses the sequence objects. Table uses what? Separate table to store the generated primary key values. Hey, auto generation is done only for what keys? Primary keys. That's what here we have the term like auto incrementing the primary key, right? Because auto generation is done only for one keys, primary keys. Auto means it is a strategy, no? Data JP will decide. Data JP will decide what strategy it has to use, depends on the table, database. Hey, you tell me some plain Oracle query. How to get all employees based on descending order? You tell me the normal SQL query, plain query. How to get the employees in descending order? Employees salary in descending order. Hmm? What query tell me? Order by? Order by DS, yeah. Order by DS, yeah. Complete query ఒకసారి చెప్పండి మామూలుగా select star from employee. Select star from employees. Order by based on the salary I want descending order. They tell me the query here. Select the star from what? Employees. Order. Less than in the minor field. Repeat అంతా అసలు. Order by salary. I also don't know. Got it? That is a query, guys. That is what? Query. What is the query? Select the star from employee order by. See, you saw the JPL queries, right? JPL queries are what format? Java format. Select E from employee, E dot ID, E dot name, you written JPL queries like that. But this is JPL queries or plain SQL query? Plain SQL queries. But this is a database dependent. So different database support different syntaxes. Same syntax, different syntax. That's what it is. This is select star from what? Employee. Order by what one? Salary. What order here? Descending order. Okay, this is the query we should write. When you write the query, guys, go for the repository layer. The repository layer, we need to use one annotation like @query annotation. What annotation? @query. Previously, using @query annotation, we are writing the query. This is like JPL queries. Tell me what is JPL query we are writing there? Update employee E. E is object name. E dot name equal to E dot ID equal to E dot name, something like you written the JPL queries. Yes, JPL queries, that is a database specific. Any database JPL work. Any database JPL will work. But if you see this query, guys, select the star from employee, order by salary. What order here? Descending order. This is like native SQL queries. Native query equal to what? True. Native query equal to what? It means this query will work for only Oracle database. Tomorrow, if you change to PostgreSQL database, that code will not work. This is called native SQL queries. Native SQL queries means the queries are specific to what particular database. Particular to what? Particular database. Hey, real time we have total 4 queries, guys. One is the predefined methods. What we done predefined methods. But predefined methods are not at all important for us. Custom methods very important. Custom methods also updation operation is not possible. We are getting a lot of issues. Then you can go for what? JPL queries. Real time is all about the JPL queries, guys. And native SQL queries also we will not use because native SQL queries are specific to what database. But database in real time fixed, maybe they will change the database. They change the database means the query will work, it will not work. That is called native query equal to true. Native query is specific to database. Specific to what? Database. The total how many flavors we are seeing total? 4 flavors. Flavor 1 is the predefined methods. Flavor 2? Custom and derived methods. Custom methods. Flavor 3? JPL. Flavor 4? Native SQL queries. Real time we have these 4 queries. So we will use these 4 queries in the real time to do the process, to do what? Process. Okay, that's it, guys. Select to start from employee, order by what? Salary descending order. This is the legal SQL code. And you write for this one is the controller layer. Tell me, guys, write the code for the controller layer fast. Go for the controller layer. This is the controller layer. You write the code. Go for the get mapping because you need to get the details, right? At the rate what mapping, get mapping. At the rate, get mapping, right? Yeah, you write the code better. You write the code. You check that this query is working or not. Got it? Yeah, write the code enough. And that's all about your data JP. That's all about your what? Data JP. You write these points. For the purpose of native SQL queries. Developer writing the queries based on what? Developer writing the queries based on underlying database. Based on what? Database. Based on underlying database. For example, here's a query, guys. How to write this query means in employee repository at the rate what annotation, guys? Your query annotation. That's it, guys. You write the controller layer and service layer. You check that the data is coming in what order? Ascending order, descending order. Descending order lost knowledge is shift side. Right the point. Developer writing the queries based on what? Underlying database. Okay. These queries, the native SQL queries, these queries are what? These queries are database dependent, independent. Database dependent. If tomorrow database change, this code will work or not work? Work with me. But JPK will work for what? All databases. That's it, guys. Online people buy.